Good evening and welcome to Metro Focus. I'm Jenna Flanagan. Election Day is exactly 1 week away, with Governor Cuomo sitting on a comfortable lead over Republican challenger Marc Molinaro. New York Democrats are focusing their final efforts winning the state Senate. Flipping the Senate from red to blue, along with a Cuomo victory, would give Democrats full legislative control of state government for the first time in years. So, is the so-called blue wave coming for Albany, or will it prove to be only a ripple? And what will the real-life implications of potential one-party rule in state government be? Joining us now with answers is Jonathan Lentz, editor-in-chief of City and State, New York. So I guess we'll just start with my last question. What could the possible implications be of a blue wave or ripple, or at least one-party rule in Albany?
Sure, yeah, and the state Senate here is really the question mark. It's been narrowly controlled by Republicans for some time. Historically, they've had a pretty safe majority for a long time. I think one time in the 60s for a few months they lost control, and then 2009, 2010. This could be the year, but there's a lot of policy questions involved. Things like legalizing recreational marijuana, things like rent regulations in New York, congestion pricing, single-payer health care, you name it.
Well, there's been criticism that with the governor, even though he seems to be in the lead right now, that his campaign hasn't really offered any new ideas. Yet what we're seeing from a lot of Democratic candidates is that they're coming further and further from the left and a more progressive part of the political party. So does that set up any sort of contention when they all come back in January?
Sure, yeah. I mean, again, if Democrats do take the state Senate,
Of course,
which is
if.
not guaranteed, they have a sizable majority in the Assembly. Cuomo's obviously a Democrat. That could really flip the calculus for the governor. He's been able to be in the middle and kind of work with state Senate Republicans on one hand, work with Assembly Democrats on the other, and find compromises, position himself as a centrist. He may find himself on the right of both the Senate and the Assembly if they're both Democratic.
Okay. Switching gears a little bit to something a little bit more serious is that the past week, we've seen a lot of political rancor, unfortunately, outright violence, and just incredible tension around politics in the country. And I'm wondering if you're seeing that playing out in our state government in any way, the fallout from all of that.
Sure. I think you see some candidates who are trying to really tone down the rhetoric in response to this. There's a chance that independent voters, some Republican voters, may see that Trump and his rhetoric has gone too far. Obviously, some part of his base doesn't agree with that at all. That Trump's not to blame whatsoever here. But yeah, the Republican nominee for governor in New York, Marc Molinaro, said he's not going to run any negative ads up through the end of the election in a week. So that's a real change. Again, whether it'll have an impact in terms of voting turnout and the outcomes, wait and see.
Well, moving from the state level to at least the federal level, we do have several congressional races in New York that people are watching. One of them that some people have said has gotten ugly is New York 19, John Faso, the incumbent Republican, against Antonio Delgado, the Democratic challenger. What are you seeing? Because the polls seem to have the two of them neck and neck.
Yeah, and they've been neck and neck for weeks now. That's really one of the toss-up races, one that could make the difference on a national level if Delgado picks it up. Now, Delgado is African-American, and he, years ago, was a hip-hop artist, and ads on behalf of Faso, I think not funded directly by Faso, have really emphasized that. People say it's race baiting. People say it's going too far. Faso's somewhat tried to distance himself from that, but that's gotten ugly in that race.
Okay. And are there any other congressional races? I mean, you and I have talked several times about, I believe it's the 22nd District out near Buffalo? Sure.
Well, actually, two of them that I would really look at are Claudia Tenney up in central New York. She's a Republican incumbent, and Lee Zeldin, another Republican incumbent out on Long Island. Both of them have allied themselves to Trump and in some ways mirrored his angry, divisive rhetoric. It'll be interesting to see whether they, with these terrible terrorist attacks and threats, whether that hurts them in terms of voter support, whether people see maybe they're going too far as well. They're being too angry and divided.
All right, and very quickly before we go, unfortunately, it seems like every time we have an election, the City Board of Elections gets the what's for mistakes or people not being, et cetera. Do we know if they are ready this time?
I would not bet on it.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know anything in particular, but
Yeah.
cycle after cycle, the problems come up. I mean, it was 2016 where you had, I think, 200,000 people purged from the ballot in Brooklyn. It's unclear whether that problem has totally been corrected.
Okay. Well, we'll of course be, I always watch Twitter to see who was and was not able to vote in the city. And of course, we'll be looking for that next week. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.